Alright, so we are started with a kick and a snare, both in simpler devices on MIDI tracks over here. And now we want to put in a basic bass sound. We're going to add in more effects behind those devices later, but let's put in another sound to get a better picture of what is going on. And we're going to Instruments, and we're going to select the operator down here. And we can drag this synthesizer into this gray area over here and drop it, and it will create a new MIDI clip. As you can see, you can actually take this audio clip and this other audio clip over here and take them out. Open this one up, and now there are several ways of working. If you want to create a new MIDI clip, you can select this grid over here, which is just the same as a MIDI clip in a piano roll. Zoom in and zoom out, zoomable. And you can also right click and tell the grid to fix or to be adaptive. And if you want it to fix, you can tell it if you want it to fix at a bar or 16th notes or whatever you prefer. Let's put in narrow. And we could quickly create a new MIDI clip. Right click, insert MIDI clip, and then insert a MIDI clip into the selected area. Right click, call it bass. And double clicking into the MIDI clip opens up the piano roll. And we can go ahead and zoom in here. It's a bass, so we are not at C3. We are going down to C1. And we are going to produce a track in D minor. So let's put in D sharp and just hold the note. You can actually reduce the length to 4 bars, and you see this tiny dot over here indicates that it's looping from here on. So those lines are the indicators showing you, okay, this is a loop and it's this long. So if we play it all together, I'm taking down the volume. This is a volume control actually. Let's talk about this quickly. Those are your tracks, and you have several controls over here. If we open up the info view again, and we drag this one down a bit, this is the track activator. If I click this, it will be deactivated, so not played. If it's yellow, it will be played. This over here is the solo button. It will play solo if you hit this button, and all the other ones won't play unless you hit Command and select the other one as well. And this is your volume control, so the volume fader, which looks like this in the session view. If you take it all down, all the way down over here, go back to the arrangement view, you can see it's infinitely reduced volume. But we can take it up. So you have those decibel values over here. You can also put in more options, input output options if you click this field, and track delay options if you click this field. So what is track delay? Track delay actually allows you to play a certain track, like this one for example, compared to the other ones a little earlier or later. So if we want to adjust the feeling of our snare, and we have the feeling it should come a little earlier, we don't really have to go into the MIDI file and tell it to do so. We can also just tell it to be minus 20 milliseconds early compared to all the other tracks. So let's do that and look at bass in a minute. If we exaggerate it a lot, that doesn't feel right, so let's go back to minus 15 or something. That sounds pretty cool, so we could keep that, but we are going to get rid of the input-output options again. By the way, those two channels over here are so-called return channels. One has a reverb on it and the other one has a simple delay on it. And you can send several of your tracks to those channels. For example, if you want to put a simple and standardized reverb onto your sound. I could do so for the snare, for example, if I were to move up the faders over here. Notice how it gets room. So let's put that back. Don't like it too much. Probably won't be using it anyways. And put the bass back on and listen in. Now notice if you're on headphones, you should hear this bass, but if you're on laptop speakers, you probably don't. And on your smartphone or tablet might be a problem as well. So bass notes are sometimes very low. So make sure you have good speaker system or headphones to follow along from here on. So another concept we need to quickly talk about is sidechaining, because now we have two bass elements. One is the kick and one is this bass over here. And sometimes if they're really loud, they pile up and it's getting messy. So we need a sidechain. A sidechain is basically a compressor. So let's go to audio effects, select the compressor and put it behind the bass. So over here we have an audio generating device. And in order to manipulate sound, we can go here and put in effects. Effects manipulate this generated sound over here. So if we open up this arrow, you see the option sidechain shows up and we select it. And then it asks us to put in the input from, and we are going to take the input from the kick, take down the threshold, put up the ratio and see what happens. So whenever the kick hits, it will reduce the gain of this bass to leave room for the kick. So we don't pile up and nothing's really missing anyways. Just if I put the threshold really low down here, it comes in very late and you notice the effect a lot. I'm keeping it like this for now. And we are going to have a look at this instance of operator.